off to Here we are. Let's let everybody in. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Craft Cafe. I'm your host, the host of all things craft, Latoya Riggins, you guys. And I'm excited to be back today. So happy Friday, you guys. Shout out to Family Childcare. We got people coming in. I'm so excited because not only do we have a great feature for you today, but this is not just any feature, you guys. I want to take you back probably like a year ago. I think it was around this time, like, yeah, it was definitely like October. As I remember, I was actually broadcasting from my car. And you got to do what you got to do when you're an entrepreneur. You're on the go. And when I met this young lady, Miss Melissa Bowles, it was way back when in the NAFCC conference in St. Louis. And this is what I love about conferences, you guys, because you get to meet people you're never going to bump into her. Now, actually, I could because her husband's from DC, so she could actually bump into me. But she's out of Kansas, you guys, and that is some place that I've only heard of in movies.
Wizard of Oz.
Exactly. So I'm so excited to not only know somebody from Kansas, but meet somebody that has such a burning fire and a heart for ECE, for early childhood education, and not just any early childhood education. Family child care, you guys. And I'm representing today. That's my baby. I love family child care because I grew up in it. So I guess I'm a family child care baby. So she is on here because when we met, we were talking about I come from a workforce development background, you guys. Let's see I want to see who's in the building, but I'm just going to introduce what we're doing today. Just so you guys know, you need to stick around because we got some great stories for you today. She had this dream of creating an incubator for family child care providers to help them build a business. One of the things we talk about in craft, one of our biggest dilemmas is the fact that you do not teach you about business when you are going through your education to be a child care provider. They always, it's about the kids and education, but this is her project where she is letting it all loose, you guys. This was a dream fulfilled. And when I tell you one of the things, this is so connected to craft because we talk about raising money. We don't talk about it. We raise money. Let me just stop you there. We fundraise, you guys. And nobody fundraising like Melissa Bowles over here because they raised $6 million over there for this complex. Okay. And I was so baffled about it. I said, oh my gosh, you got to bring that to the show. So we got Melissa Bowles back a year later. We're going to find out not only how it went, but how it's going and where we're going to next. All right. So real quick, before we go into it, Melissa, while you getting yourself ready, I want to see who this is. Hey, Sue, are you able to come on and say hi? Let's see. I see you in the chat. Okay, you're from Kansas. Okay, so she's in there. Okay, thank you for coming, Sue. So we got Kansas in the building. I got everybody's links on. Let me make sure that we're on Facebook Live. And if you guys are watching from home on Facebook, you guys, make sure you put your information in there so you can network because we want to make sure that anybody watching can connect with other people that are watching. Okay. All right, so we're in there. Where is it? Oh, hold on. I don't see our live on Facebook. I have to make sure we're live, guys. Okay. So, Melissa, are you ready?
Everyone. I don't know how the weather is where you're at, but here in Kansas, at least my part of the woods, it is dreary and rainy. And I have a house full of wild children right now. And my wonderful assistants are getting them some lunch. So we might hear some background noise just to warn you, but you all know how that goes. So yeah, so just a little bit about myself. I have worked in the childcare industry since I was 14. My actual first job in childcare was at a center in Salina, Kansas called Martin Luther King Jr. Childcare Center. And back then it was split into two different buildings. And I just asked somebody the other day if the center is still there, and they said it is, but it used to be two separate buildings. One part across the way was for infants and the other part was for the older kids. And I actually worked and helped in the infant room and really enjoyed that for a long time till I moved away from there. And then moved off, went to high school in another town. Eventually, I found myself back in Manhattan, which we love Manhattan. Go Cats! If anybody's ready for the Sunflower Showdown, we're the Cats team over here. So yeah, so that's just kind of where my heart has been. And one of the things when I started my in-home childcare, my boys were both they were young. Our youngest was enrolled in childcare, and we struggled with quality childcare. And as a well, I say new mom, as a young mom, it wasn't necessarily that important to me, the quality at first. It was more of the, can I afford this? How are we going to do this? And I was working nights, and it just got to a point where I could not be home with him during the day because bless that kid, but he was ornery. He was so ornery. And after he got kicked out of a few programs because he was ornery, I said,
Honorary?
I really need to look at some quality and what I can do. So eventually I said, forget it, I'm not leaving him anymore. And I started my own program. So now I have had my in-home program for 21 years. I think I did this math the other day because my oldest is 23. So, and my youngest is 20. And so now with both boys gone, I have had my in-home childcare for 21 years. And my boys have attended both. They have done center care, but they've also done in-home childcare. And I just really latched on to the relationship side of family childcare. There's just something about my own personal background that I just feel connections are what we need in life. So yeah, with that being said, I've sat on a lot of task force, and I don't like to sit on task force that do not get things done. And I got asked to be part of a Manhattan task force for childcare, just as a representative for family childcare. And I made it a priority. It took a lot of planning, but I made it a priority. And that's how we got to this point. So we got a group of people that were ready to get stuff done.
I love that. Like you said, it's the execution because you'll have people planning for like 10 years and
Oh,
nothing,
yeah,
you
and
know?
nothing will happen. So thankfully, when we started this task force, we were also in a national pandemic.
Mm.
And since we were in the pandemic, there was a lot of funding, as we all know. Funding was flying at you for childcare. And businesses were really struggling because I'm sorry, we have a very teething baby. If you can hear that baby, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can hear
Um,
the baby.
but we in our community, because we have the college here and we have Fort Riley, it's such a transient community. So really childcare, as we all know, is important. And with family childcare, it's very important because you're looking for people in your neighborhood typically to help you out. And in Kansas, you're required to have a license. So we do have some people that do, like the Family Friends Network kind of childcare, but it's very limited, and you're limited on the amount of people that or the amount of hours you can have. And so that limits you being able to also do background checks on those people. So it goes back to that quality, like how can we make sure the quality that is happening. So as I'm sitting on this task force, these ideas are just being thrown. They're being thrown every which way. And everyone always jumps to, well, let's build a center. Let's build a center. Well, the problem with building a center in our town, as we know, and you have to remember, I'm at the table with business owners.
Right.
It was myself, some other business owners, and then there was a couple centers in the room, like center directors. And as this project went on, a lot of those people just dwindle off. They're like, okay, this is more than I want to be part of, and they just kind of dwindle off. Well, we were fortunate that the right people stayed at the table. And so when you're trying to explain family childcare to a business owner, they are just looking at you like, what are you doing? Because it is truly a failed business plan. We guilty, myself as well. My strong point is not my accounting books is not my business practices. And, still this many years later, there's still things I'll learn. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And it's just those little things that I realized that would have been beneficial for me. But as we're sitting at this table and they threw out the center, I'm like, we have a center in town that's operating at 30% at the time. And it was operating at 30% capacity because we don't have staff to fill it. And if you don't have the staff, you can't fill the classrooms because of
Right.
regulations. So, um, so yeah, sorry, I was reading your message there. So
Oh yeah.
since you can't fill those spots, it's hard to think to yourself, why would we build another center that's just going to sit empty if we already can't fill the ones that we have? And even still now, we have centers across the state that are closing, and it's not because their kids aren't there. The kids are there. It's the fact that we can't get the staff to stay there. So I said two things when I sat in that meeting. The first one was, we have to show these childcare providers that they matter. We have to show them that they're appreciated. We have to show them why the community needs them. We have to show them how we're going to support them as a community. So on that side of it, I started we started planning for a childcare appreciation event every year. And so this year, I think we'll be on our fourth year of it this year for that childcare appreciation event. And our community comes together to put on this. We just have a nice presentation for them. We have different supporting agencies in our area that support family childcare and centers, and we get the school district in there. We get childcare licensing in there. We get Childcare Aware of Kansas, Raising Riley, just different programs in our area to come there, because the ideal is we want these people to know they're not alone. And then we present them all with a certificate. And last year we did door prizes because, the funding, you have to really hunt for the funding, but we do get really good backing from our community, which is amazing. And then the other side of that was, okay, we cannot focus on a center. We need to focus on bringing in more family childcare, because if we bring in family childcare and we mentor these people who come in, whether it's man, woman, like bring these people in that want to be in this industry and teach them from the beginning and help them be successful when they are on their feet, and we put them back into their homes or into their neighborhoods. If they want to, say somebody wants to purchase a different house and do their business in a house by itself instead of bringing it back into their home, they could do that because they've been given the tools and mentored through it. So insert the Childcare Business Initiative.
This is my part. Now,
Yes.
real quick before we go into that, I just want to kind of point out the piece about them learning about just the business in itself. Because like you said, when it comes to family childcare, talking to like a person that's set on business, they just see business. This is such a niche business that you have to not just understand business, you got to understand childcare, and not even just childcare. The next portion is the family childcare piece. So I was in the chat because I saw Annette Eberhardt slide on in, and I wanted to see if she's available to introduce herself, because not only is she a family childcare business owner, she also is one of our craft presenters, and we just did a class on accreditation. She is okay. She's signing back in right now. So she talks about that kind of same thing. So I know that she will appreciate what you guys are doing over in Kansas. She's out of Florida. Let's see. Annette, are you able to come on and introduce yourself? Because that's the advocacy. She's into advocacy, and you are straight up advocating for family childcare. Like you said, there's really nobody, in all of these, like, no big names out here, just family childcare, family childcare. They're just childcare. So I think the specified lens on family childcare definitely needs to be blown up. And then, are you on mute? Let's see. Are you able to introduce yourself?
I am. I'm in a hotel lobby, so
Oh,
kind
no
of low
problem.
key. Sorry. Yeah, I'm in that Eberhard. I was reconnecting from my phone to the computer, so I didn't hear everything that was going on. But I am in Tampa, Florida. I'm a family child care educator. Been doing it now for 18 years, and I also serve on several committees and boards in support of advocacy and to uplift the voices for family child care educators.
Yes. So that's why I'm glad you're here tuning in. And I literally listened to Melissa's story because they're doing some big things over in Kansas. So I know that you guys would love it. And I want you, this is why I want everybody to come on so that you guys can start collaborating and whatnot. You know what I mean? Other states.
Networking,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
because you guys are
I think
all doing
I've
the
met you
same
a
thing.
few times actually.
Oh, you guys met
Okay.
before.
Yeah,
Probably. You guys were at all the conferences, probably the same conferences, and passed each other by, or probably were in each other's classes or anything.
Yes, probably
right.
so. If you're
Yeah.
connected to NAFCC or anything
Yep.
like that, absolutely.
Yeah, that's where me and her met at in St. Louis, matter of fact.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So she's all over the place. So yeah,
I
thank
am
you
all over
for
the
being
place.
here, Annette. Let's see.
Good. It's nice to meet you, Melissa. We have to
You
keep
as
in touch.
well.
Yes,
Yes. So, and I'm
absolutely.
also the state rep for NAFCC for Kansas.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be joining y'all meeting soon. I'm the council,
Oh, yay.
accreditation council chair. So I'll be
Okay.
meeting with you all.
Perfect.
See that? Oh
Yep.
wow. See that? The connections. All right.
Yes.
So perfect. But thanks, Annette, because like I said, we was up late last night. We had a webinar last night. So shout out to you, Annette. You did great. So
Thank
you gotta
you.
download the Craft Plus app to catch that playback if you weren't there last night. Now let's see. We got a couple of more people in here. Now this is the thing, guys. Because we're in the middle of the day, most people are working right now in this industry. Melissa's working. You heard her say she got a teething baby in the back. Now, we're going to talk about that next, Melissa, because that's another pinpoint I want to go into with family childcare. But I want to see if Sue or Ema can come on and introduce themselves. I always make that disclaimer because sometimes people just tune in to listen in and show their support. They're not able to come on camera or, come off mute because they have, kids all over their head. And they're cooking and all that. So if you guys can just unmute and pop in and say hi, or just pop it in the chat. All right. So I'm going to get back to you, Melissa, because that was something that we always talked about is one thing about family childcare and the whole business aspect and craft, our whole leadership focus talks about business, and being a leader means taking care of yourself. And in family child care, people love that buzzword burnout, but it's usually because you're a one-man band man, as I say. So you're like an octopus trying to do everything. I'm in marketing, I'm in professional development. I always tell my clients, hey, let's hire somebody. They're like, I don't want nobody in my house. I say, you better get some cameras because you're gonna die. You need to have a day off. You need to be able to go out and advocate for your business and take care of your business. So can you speak to how you, because 21 years, Melissa, like you said, on your own, people are literally dying of stress. How have you been able to maintain and sustain all of these years? Wait, it sounds like you're on mute. Hold on.
No.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Was gonna say it shouldn't be on mute. That kind of goes back to the same thing where I said the connections matter. So in my community, I have made it my purpose to connect with different organizations around town, just because it is hard to find. It takes the right person to work in family childcare. It really does. Like you have to be someone that has a level of patience that normally doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You don't have a principal down the hallway. You can just say, hey, I need an extra set of hands. Can you come?
To the
So
principal.
so in making connections, I was blessed to have a family in my care years and years and years ago, and she worked at the high school with the Family and Consumer Sciences program, which is FCCLA. If anybody's ever heard of that, most states I think have it. I think all states have it actually. And basically, what it is, it's a pathway. It's different pathways in the high school. They're career pathways, and you can when you go there, they'll have like one that's like an auto mechanic pathway.
Yeah.
They'll Both of my boys are very interested in construction sciences or engineering, and so they both were able to in high school through this program were able to do like a computer aided drafting class. Basically, it just works them through a program to where you're doing classes to get the certificates that you need in case you do get to the end and you have a kid who's like, college isn't really the thing for me. Like it's not, or you have those kids that are like, oh, I just want to take a gap year. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's a financial thing, especially in our times now with scholarships and stuff. We don't know what's going to happen with a lot of like federal scholarships
Yeah.
and maybe a family is like, I know that was my case when I was younger. I was like, man, I cannot afford college right now. Like there's no way I can do this. But I also knew I was in that middle bracket where I was like, I don't want to have $40,000 in student loans, and I know I don't qualify for this. And so I was thankfully that mom connected me with that program, and I became part of the childcare, or not just childcare, but early childhood pathway.
Yeah.
And so since I was on that pathway, then the students that were in the high school would do job shadowing. And so they could go to like a kindergarten classroom, they could go to a local childcare center, or they could do family childcare. Well, since I already had my CDA and everything by then, my home was approved for them to come to my home. Sorry, somebody has kids in the background. Sue says that. Yes, I do too, Sue. I just have my helper. So the one of the girls that actually is here today is one of my work-based learning girls. And so she usually comes in the afternoon. She comes in the afternoons. It depends on the day, whether it's a block day or not for them. So it might just be the last 2 hours of the day. She's actually a senior this year, so she only has one morning class on Thursdays, or for Fridays. So she actually is able to come right after her morning class, and then she's here all day on Fridays, which is helpful. And then the other connection that I've made to find employees to help me out is through Kansas State University. And Kansas State University has an early childhood program. And with Kansas State University, I'm pretty plugged in a lot of different areas at Kansas State. My husband is actually a police officer for Kansas State University. And then also working with the early childhood program. I've had many professors, kids that attend my program. And then also they have kids in their class, or students in their class. I guess they're adults. I'm going to call them kids because I still call my
Like,
own kids kids,
they're
and
kids.
their age. But young adults that are in their classes that need to have observation hours. So they need just different observations for whatever. So this semester, actually, I have 2 girls from Kansas State that are coming out. And the great thing about making that connection is they also have to do like lesson plans and stuff and then implement them. And so like that gives me a moment that I am able to do something else that I maybe didn't need, like I wouldn't have been able to do until the evening time. And the other
Yeah.
great thing about that is those hours are unpaid hours. So they are here strictly for learning purposes. It's a requirement of their class time. And so I take full advantage of it. Use your resources. They have to be out here anyways, and they want them getting these on hand. They want them to get these on hand experiences and in-person experiences. And it's kind of fun because you do notice like some girls, I'll just, my girl that's here now, because I told her I was going to share about her, but my high school girl here, she's been with me for 2 years now. She was very, very, very shy. And when she first came to me, she didn't really know, like, she's like, I think I want to do this. Like, I want to be in the early childhood field, but I'm not for sure. She is absolutely amazing, especially with special needs kids. And I have a little guy that has very high needs, and she was the one person that was able to break through to him when he was really having his meltdowns. So it goes back to those connections, and that's how I get my employees. I connect with them when they come in the job shadow, and then I'm like, hey, if you need a job next semester, let me know. Let me know. If you would like to come in and sub, let me know. And then my only other sub is my husband, and he just doesn't get a choice. So no, he's great. He's great with the kids. But if there's something like when I was doing the task force meetings, I was like, okay, I need you on this day because it was over lunch. But he's great. He's great with the kids. So that works out perfect for me. So I would say just make those connections. And I am pretty confident that every state has that FCCLA program, especially in the high schools. And do they not have it, Annette? I see you shaking your head because
You have it in Florida?
That's what made me pop on. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I wish we had something like that.
well, I
Yeah, we
had
don't.
asked, I had Arlene and I were talking about it. She was like, "How did you get into that?" And I told her, and I was like, "I'm certain there is a Florida chapter, but I'm going to look it up and try to find it." Because I know that they did they actually had their state competition down there.
We
Uh,
did have a couple of agencies that were offering substitutes, but I think because of insurance, something with the insurance, they're not doing it anymore. It was like two agencies that were working in Florida if we needed substitutes, if we had doctor's appointments or even wanted them to work for us temporarily. And in order for them to come on permanently, they had to work with us for a certain amount of time. Almost like we had to buy them to be able to,
Oh, so
stay on.
yeah.
Yeah, but
see,
then they ran into insurance.
we
Right.
connected our local FCCLA her with Kansas childcare training opportunities because in Kansas you have to have 18 core hours of different trainings before you can work in a licensed home or center. And so those kids take that, they actually put it into their curriculum. So those kids come, it is written into their curriculum. They take the classes through Casito. Um, and then, so by the time they come to me, they've already had those 18 hours,
Oh, nice.
Wow, that's nice.
I love that.
Mhm.
which is
Y'all
Yeah.
gonna
awesome.
have to get together with that. And I love this because, and you guys know I come from a workforce development background, and DC is notorious for our workforce development and lifelong learning. Shout out to UDC, University of District of Columbia. We worked with them and also UPO, United Planning Organization. I was a recruiter and a referral partner for both. It's actually how I brought in Better Futures to create that CDA program. And because I worked with so many uh childcare
Yes.
businesses, centers,
Mhm.
and family, I had my pick of the litter. I could send them anywhere. I'm like, I'll let them pick. I'm like, where you want to work? And the business owners would love it because they would try to get on my list because I'm sending you people. And
Right.
at one point in DC, you didn't need a CDA specifically to work in a center. So I was kicking off. I was like, I was interviewing, I was the summer camp, please, with the bigger kids, and they would open, like expand during the summers. I'm like, well, how many people you need? So that's why I love hearing about the resourcefulness of you, Melissa, because I never had a owner go out and do it. I would do it for them because my job
Right.
was to bridge the gap. But it needs to have a system set up, like you said, with the career
Absolutely.
pathways, because a lot of people, like you said, we talked about this, and I don't know if you were listening. She was talking about college. A lot of people don't even want to go to college, you know what I mean? Or don't need to go to college. And CDA is definitely on the list of quote unquote trades where you can actually go into it and have it in within what 5 to 6 months, well, less than a year, and start a business straight off. You know what I mean? And go into your career. So having those pathways is really changing lives for people because they don't really know how to get from high school to a career. Because everybody says college, 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 but there are other ways. And so all of the ways that you guys make it easier to guide people into this industry, I think is amazing. And with the advocacy too, that piece is really kind of, like you said, breaking up the myths about family childcare and about childcare, period. So I love that you guys are out there connecting with all of these things. And so you are connecting for your own self, right? Nobody approached you, right, Melissa?
Oh, the only time I was approached was actually for the one with the chamber, the task force with the chamber. And
Mm,
that's where the CBI came from. And so actually, that we were talking about the fundraising or whatever
yeah.
earlier on the previous show. And we were blessed that that was a time of all the grants from federal grants for COVID and just everything. And we were, they were giving us all the money for childcare, which was awesome. We don't have that now. But we still knew we were falling short, but that was another place where we pulled in the community. So well, I say we because there were other people at the table. I was not the one that officially wrote for the grants because we had two other people that did that. But there were grants out there that were for economic development. And with that economic development grant, some of them were tied into you had to have an education component, you had to have a workforce component, you had to have a health component, and then you had to have something that was helping to solve the childcare problem. So we submitted for that grant and we were awarded it, which was our biggest, one of our biggest funding. So we got it. And in order to do that, we brought in the Manhattan Area Technical College, which is now starting a early childhood degree pathway, an associate's degree pathway. I actually have a meeting for that this evening. And then we brought in Kansas Workforce One, which Kansas Workforce One helps families in Pottawatomie County and Riley County, and they will do things like help them find jobs. If you have someone that needs help writing a resume or building like or reaching their employment goals, like just there's the resume side of it, there's applying for jobs, there's finding the jobs. So they'll help with that. Then we have the Manhattan Free Clinic. Manhattan Free Clinic covers people who are don't have insurance or are underinsured, and then also that are lower income. So just more of our at-risk families in the community that need that healthcare benefit to be there. So they actually put a clinic inside the Flint Hills Community Accelerator. And then we have the Childcare Business Initiative. The Childcare Business Initiative is 8 family childcare suites. Each suite has their own pen pal or their own pen pad to get into the building. Each suite is its own individual business, so it is licensed in their name, and they are in there for at least 12 months getting hands-on training for whatever they need from basic things of setting up your classroom to writing your handbook, drafting your policies, helping you through the business side of things, learning about children with special needs. And then, like I said, we mentor them through them. So they will actually, Kansas Childcare Training Opportunities, they have somebody who's trained in the All Our Kin business series. And so they are breaking that down into different entities, like the different areas, and we'll be helping the business owners through that program. I have personally taken that course. It was long. It is 30 hours. But there were things, even me, after, I'm on year 21, I learned that I didn't know when I was like, man, where was this when I first got it started? And I didn't, are you kidding me? My contract back in the day was 1 page. It was literally 1 page. That was my contract and my policies. It was not any more than that. And now I look at my stuff and I was like, oh, I am really kind of picky, but it's because I've learned along the way what needs to
Yeah.
be in there. But I mean, it just breaks down everything in that class. And so I really pushed for that All Our Kin programming. And just because it is different, it's completely different from running a center. Like your policies, I think as family childcare providers, we put others before ourselves often,
All the time.
and we can't do that. We have to stop always putting someone else first because you can't pour from an empty cup. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then we are not giving our highest quality of care to our families and children, because we're not just taking care of the children. We're here to support the families too. That's what's unique about family child care, is we're here to support the families.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just through those, it just all literally goes back to those connections, building those connections, building that network of community within your own community. Like I love connecting with people all over the United States. I love doing that. And I love that I can say, oh, wait, this is going on in your state. Like when I figure out how New Mexico is paying for all of their childcare,
Wait,
they're going to
what?
be sick of me in Kansas. They're going to be
They,
sick of me
wait,
because I'm
New
not afraid
Mexico?
to ask. New Mexico, they have childcare. Like in their state, they now are paying for childcare. And there's no
Like for
income
everybody?
guidelines for everyone.
So what's the prices like? Like what's
I
the
don't know. I don't
like?
know because I'm not
That's
in New
where my brain
Mexico, but
went.
I'm going to get to know the New Mexico state rep really well because I need to know more. I have dug through their website and they are putting out a list of frequently asked questions, but I know that a lot of it is state funding dollars that are coming down, which I'm guessing are coming down from the Child Development Block Grant. But once again, we don't know what's going on with all that right now. So there's got to be some kind of state funding that's pouring into that too, where they're matching it. And that's how we were blessed with the CBI is we had business owners in our area that were committed to having childcare here. Because the thing is, you look at big states like we'll Florida. Let me just think of my buddy Arlene. But you look at like Miami and it's huge, right? It's huge. Like I'm sure, I don't know how many people are there. In where I live in Kansas, we have 50,000 people when the students are here.
Oh damn.
When the students are here. So when K-State is closed for the summer, guess where all those people go? They leave. They leave because they go home. They're students. It's like a ghost town in areas. And so we aren't going to have the same access to funding as far as business owners as like a Miami would, or even like a Kansas City, which is about two and a half hours down the road from me. And we don't have those same things. So I think the biggest thing in these communities when you're trying to build connection with these businesses is be involved with your local chamber of commerce. Find
Yeah.
your local chamber of commerce. And okay, maybe it does cost you $500 a year or whatever it is to be part of that program or that networking, but write it off as a business expense. It's a business expense because it's going to come back and support you. It's going to come back and support you. And here's the thing, once you're into that chamber of commerce, now go find the chairperson, whoever handles all of the economic development for the chamber of commerce, because they have someone, all those chamber of commerces are going to have an economic development person. Because what do communities have to do to grow? They have to bring businesses in.
That's
And
right.
if you want to bring in those bigger businesses, you're going to have childcare to cover those kids.
True. Yeah.
You're going
Wow.
to have it. And if you don't have the childcare to cover them, guess what? And I mean, especially like right now, I mean, what a perfect opportunity right now, which it's a touchy subject for me. My child had a learning delay and we used the Head Start program because that's where our services were through in our community. And so with so many Head Start programs right now that don't know how they're going to fund their next month,
Yeah.
where are all those kids going to go?
Right.
Why not find a business owner that's willing to help support that? Guess where you're going to find those business owners at those chamber events?
That's true. That is
That's
very
where
true.
you're going to find them. That's where you're going to build those connections.
Yeah. And that's a good point. You know, that's one of the things we talk about is connecting with the businesses in your community when you're with family childcare because you're such a big staple of the community. Bring them in. You know, we talk about having campaigns like partnering on different things and them buying slots from you for their employees.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, like the industries that are non-traditional, you know what I mean? They like restaurants and uh
Police force,
police
fire
force,
department.
hospital, they're working around the clock and then the centers are open closed at 6, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
so family childcare. I mean, the pandemic proved it anyway, so I don't even have to say it.
Well, and another thing here, like we have a lot of rural farming communities here. Well, when it's harvest week, like those, you have such a limited time because if it rains, then then you're going to lose some crops
Right.
and if you don't get it harvested in time. And so I know a lot of our rural providers here in Kansas, they will have to adjust their hours to be open later just so families with various, I mean, a lot of Kansas farmers will, I know my sister farms and she's also a child care provider. They'll throw the kids up in the combine with them and go. But sometimes you can't do that. And if you're a family that can't do that, then those kids are going to have to stay someplace where they're safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and so I mean, childcare is affecting every single person. So if we're making those commitments to it early, and speaking on those commitments, and my sister, I hadn't planned on sharing the story, so I'm sorry, Heather, if you don't want me to share the story, but um, Lucas, Kansas is a very small town. My graduating class was 21 people, and 2 of them were foreign exchange students. I think my sister had 10. She's probably going
Wow.
to correct me on that. Maybe 14. I don't remember. Very, very under 20 kids. Under 20 kids. Like
And graduating
when
class.
that was my graduating class was 21 kids, and 2 of them were foreign exchange students. And so 19 of us from that area. My sister still lives in that very small community. For the longest time, my sister was the only child care provider in that area for a 45-minute or 45-mile radius. She was the only or the only child care provider. There wasn't a center anywhere. There wasn't another family child care provider anywhere. My sister had her family child care home, and then one of her parents decided to become a family child care provider because my sister helped her help work her through that. So now she has a family child care. Well, this past month, so every month at their local council meeting, they have been talking about people who are heroes in the community, or you help our community thrive. I don't remember the exact name of the award, but I have it. Well, they actually gave it to her and this other child care provider, talking about the importance of of family child care, and talking about what they do, the type of person it takes to do these, and just saying that they are helping keeping their community afloat. Like, recognized them at the council meeting and gave them a nice plaque and read this thing off for them. And I was like, that's a community that is very small. I don't know what the Lucas thing is, but I know it's under 1,000 people now. I think it's probably under 500 people, let's be honest. But they do have um, a factory there called Great Plains. Great Plains is a farming factory, but they make equipment for farms. But so yeah, they have a factory there. But now there's my sister, and then there's another childcare provider, family childcare provider right there in Lucas. And then down the road about 15 miles, there is a childcare center that was started. But it is I want I probably shouldn't say this because I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's actually licensed as a center or if it's licensed as a family child care. I just know it's in the old elementary school. And then the next closest town is Russell, Kansas, which is about 45 minutes away from them. And so you're not going to have families that are driving all the way to Russell to drop their kids off and then coming back. And so a lot of times, if it wasn't for those small family childcare, those people wouldn't know where to send their kids. And
Right.
so our smaller communities, it's just another way to keep those smaller communities alive too. If we can get these smaller communities to have these licensed child cares and have these licensed high quality child cares. And props to my sister. She is in a community that it wouldn't even matter, but she's going through the accreditation process now to elevate that. And I've done the accreditation. I got my first accreditation in 2010, and then I'm accredited now. But her husband even said, he's like, "Why are you doing all this?" And she's like, "Because I want people to see what high quality is, that I'm not just here watching kids. I'm not just here plopping them in front of a TV and doing whatever I want to do. I'm actually educating them." So it took one person to get the wheel moving out there. And that's what I'm saying. That's why these connections matter. Get involved with those chamber of commerces, find those economic development people in your community, and get the ball rolling. Because once the ball's rolling and people see what's happening, others are going to follow. They're going to
Wow.
follow.
This is amazing. I'm so excited. So, Melissa, this was a year ago when you came on, and we
Mhm.
were so excited. I know the groundbreaking. I remember you sending me a message. You're like, "Latoya, we're having the groundbreaking. I'm gonna send you the link." I'm like, "Wait, what? Already?" It was like December. I said,
Yeah.
"Wait." Like 2 months later, you guys were breaking ground. I said, "Oh my goodness, this is trigger fingers. They're not letting grass grow on their feet at all." Like, so where are you guys now? I saw the ribbon cutting. I was so proud. I felt like you was my child. I was crying. You know what I mean? And like, let's talk about like how that opening, like how was it? And this is my question I'm curious about because we got 8 suites, right? How did you go about choosing who were the first pioneers of this center, of this CBI? Like, how did you choose who?
an executive director. And in that moment, when we hired the executive director, it's okay. That's taken some pressure off of our plates. So I was like, we let her do her thing. And you know what? She's done her thing. Like there have definitely been bumps in the road. So we hired the executive director. We got a marketing agency that on board as well. And once the marketing agency was on board, they started putting out ads like through just areas that people are the traffic is going to be there. Facebook, like we have a Facebook page, so we did some Facebook ads, we did some community ads, and just kind of got the word out there. And people were curious. They're like, okay, I don't understand how this is going to work. Like what are we going to do here? And the applications started rolling in. We slowly gained traction on those pages on the sites. We put the links, and people would say they want more information. And so we found people. And the way they chose is they kind of laid out what the process would be. And like I said, there have been bumps. There's bumps. Like we're gonna have to revamp some of the contracts as far as the program contract and the rental program. What sets us apart from there are other accelerator businesses. Connecticut has something similar, but Connecticut pays their providers to come in and learn the business. We don't pay our providers. We pay them with our knowledge, but we don't pay them to be part of the program. They actually rent the space because we have to keep the whole building afloat. So we have to have some kind of cash flow coming in. Now, we don't nickel and dime them. It is very low. They pay $800 for rent, and I think it's $800. That's it. And with that being said, that's like their lights, their water, their trash, all of that. It's like they're just paying for that suite.
Right. And
But
that's per month.
per month.
I think
Yeah.
that's a deal though. And you have, I
Yeah.
mean, like what can you talk about what's in a suite? Because I know we talked about like the kitchen and it being real
Right.
close to home. Can you describe what a suite?
Yeah. So in the suites, in the building design, there's two sides of this, and it's not going to fail. I'm going to preface with that. It's not going to fail. But should something have happened, we needed to have a space that was set up in such a way that if we needed to turn it into a center, we could turn it into a center. So we knew there had to be a central kitchen. And that was kind of at first people were like, oh, we should have, a central kitchen. We can cook the meals, or we can have meal service come in, da, 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 da. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. If we're training them to be family childcare providers, we can't have these food services coming in and yeah, I think there's multiple places that are starting to do it. I think the only one there isn't maybe one is the West Coast right now, Annette. We were just talking about that, and something fun. I'll tell you about that here pretty quick. I'm gonna run out of time. See, I need like a 3-hour session. So
Part
so
two.
so with the kitchen thing, one of the things for licensing in the state of Kansas is you have to have a kitchen. You have to have a kitchen to be a family childcare provider. And my thought is if we're training these people in the business side of things, and they're going to have to know, how am I going to cook these meals for these kids every day? Because typically family childcare is a one-man show or one woman show, whoever, one business owner show, until you're hiring an employee or you have somebody else coming in to help you out, volunteers or whatever. And so you're going to have to do the meal planning. You're going to have to cook the meals. You have to do that stuff for your kids, right? With your children there a lot of times, unless you prep ahead of times, or you have a husband that's home during the day and you're like, hey, will you make lunch today? Because I like to do that. But a lot of people don't have that. And so they put the kitchenettes. So now that every suite has a kitchenette in there, every suite has their own bathroom. Every suite has access to their own fenced in play yard because they also had to have their own play yard. And then every suite has a conjoining storage room. So that also doubles as a tornado shelter because we have tornadoes in Kansas. So the storage room has shelves on both sides. And then like the big safety doors for if there was a storm or whatever for them to go in there. And each suite also has their own keypad to get in there. So, I mean, and it's a full kitchen. It's a full-size fridge, a full-size stove, full-size oven, like it's all there, cabinets, it's all there. And then the other thing with the suites is with our grant money, we were able to get the basic items to go into the suites just so providers have that year because they have to be there at least a year. they can be there longer, but there will be some changes to that. Yeah. So the funding we got a lot of it was from Spark dollars, and then we got community donors. Our local hospital actually was a huge donor to give us the land there. So
Fair.
that was a huge donor. Yeah. And that's been amazing. And we brought them in. And like I said, Lisa has done a tremendous job of making connections in the community as well. And so now we're just kind of in the maintenance stage and the making sure we have our policies correct. But what is great, and I'm sure Lisa would be okay with me sharing this. And if she's not, she'll send me a text here in a second and get on to me. But Lisa, our executive director, is actually now working towards having a nationwide cohort for these types of programs. And so she's been in contact with a couple different agencies now that are doing similar things, so they can help support each other, which I love that. I love that because everybody's doing it a little bit different. But this is the first, like the Flint Hills Childcare, or the Flint Hills Accelerator, Community Accelerator is the overarching thing. But the Childcare Business Initiative part of it is not the way we have it set up has not been done across the United States yet. And across the community. So she's making those connections on a national level, and she has ties. She has ties in, different areas. She's been in a lot. She's a very impressive resume, actually, of different areas. She's done childcare in Japan, and she's done military care, and she's done in Colorado. She did a lot of stuff and helped get one of their programs up and going. And so yeah, she's done great, but she's now working on a national cohort to get them talking and how they can support each other across the whole country, which is awesome.
Amazing. Love that. All right,
So
so
yeah,
last story I want to get out of you before we land the plane. Now, I want to dig into like how it's going, like who's in it. And I know you have a couple of people. Well, not, is all eight suites occupied now?
all 8 suites are spoken for. Yep.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
you have one of the success stories you said. Are you able?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so I had one girl. So when we did our ribbon cutting that day, I was able to speak. The governor of Kansas was there as well, and I was able to speak. And I mean, we're talking about a packed room. I was probably more nervous than I was when I was giving my Leaders Shaping Leaders speech. Like, this room was packed to the brim with people and from all over the state, which was crazy. And so I stood up there and I talked about it and just kind of what the project meant to me, and why family childcare is so important, and just building those connections. And it's hard, like, to not fight back those tears. And so after the programming was done, someone that I know in our community very well, who works for an agency here, not related to childcare, but it does support other businesses, or not businesses, but just low income families in our area. She came up to me and she said, this one woman is in these suites. And she's like, when I first heard about this program, she was like, I thought of her. And she was like, she's going to be amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. Like, she's so sweet. She's so kind. And let me tell you, this business owner has ran out the door. And I mean, she is running. She is not walking. Like, she wants things to be right. This mama has 7 kids of her own.
Wow.
And she was working in another service. I mean, she's still serving people. So she was in a helper job before. And she just wants to absorb everything. And she will text me and she will ask me questions. And she's like, how would I do this? And then before her business opened, she's like, is there, like, can I come in and, like, watch how you do things, see how you're running your program? And I was like, absolutely. Like, come, just let me know when, and you can come over. And I mean, she was so warm and inviting. My kids are just climbing in her lap, wanting her to read a book. She's there just to watch me, but she's doing amazing. If she has a question, she's not afraid to ask those questions. And she will send me a message. She's like, hey, do you have a minute just to help me with this situation? What can I do to help this child, or like she is right there. Absolutely. I'll give you my email, Annette. But absolutely, she just jumps in and she wants this to succeed. For her, it is not an option for her business to fail. Like she wants it to be successful. She's a military wife. And that means maybe she might be going to another station at some point. Sometimes you're at a different duty station. My husband was military before. That's how he's here from DC. He's stuck here now. No, we don't want to go back anyways. We love it here. But sometimes you're at a place for 4 years, sometimes you're only there for 2 years. Like it just depends. So I don't know what her long-term plan is as far as where they'll end up, like if they'll stay in this area or not. But yeah, she's thriving and I just love it. I love that for her because there's nothing that makes somebody feel more empowered than knowing you're making a difference. And for it empowers me, and that's how I fill my bucket, is by serving others. And oftentimes to a fault,
Mhm.
I need to learn to say no, but I don't say no because I wish I would have had that kind of mentoring when I was first starting out. I wish I would have had people in there like, hey, you're doing a really great job here, but here's how we can make this easier for you and higher quality here. And that's what I love about this girl. She wants to know it all. And I see her being somebody that is just going to keep climbing ladders and building those connections. And then one day she'll be sitting here and mentoring the next person. And that's what we need because I'm not getting any younger. I know I look much younger than I am, but I'm not getting any younger. And I need the next generation of people to be stepping up to the plate because if we don't have anybody, then who's going to take care of my grandkids?
That's right.
Because
We gotta
we're,
get
we're
that.
going to need it.
Yep, that is it. The kids, the people who are going to educate the children. Oh my
Right.
goodness. Melissa, this is awesome. So when it comes to the actual incubator, do you guys have a mentoring program?
So that was actually my Shaping Leaders project with my partner. We've had some changes there, but yeah, we have the providers actually have to meet with the group, like the whole group of all the providers have to meet once a month, and we are able to give them a lesson or whatever. We also are using our Manhattan Technical Training Room with the Tech College, the training room that's in the building. Community entities such as Childcare or Casito is able to use that classroom to teach their classes in. They just have to call Lisa and get that set up. And they can train their classes there. And so that's a way we can connect old providers with new providers. They can build those relationships because if one of the sweet girls sign up for those classes, they're in the class. They just had their first one actually the other day, and I heard it went well. So that was exciting. And then we actually have a meeting on Monday for the providers, for all of the suite providers to be there, that I will be attending just to talk about DCF and how those programs benefit family childcare and families. So just kind of getting the hey, this is how these are how these programs are going to help you
What?
also be able to help your families. So
I
yeah,
love. Well,
so
I
once
want.
a month.
Yeah, I definitely want to get in on that. I want to give a gift from Kraft to the suite owners there. So we'll talk after this,
Perfect.
put something in place because I love this kind of stuff. So I want to, and this is my dream, Melissa. So
Yeah,
that's what drew me to you. So I know there's no, I don't believe in coincidences. The way we met was just divine. And I know we're going to do a lot together. So I definitely want to have something really nice for the business owners, usher them into the fold because, we got to put
perfect.
on them. So now, listen, because we got to land the plane. But listen, this is not over because we're still in play right now. So we
Mm,
are gonna catch up with you even sooner because I know how quick you move. All right.
yeah, I know. I know. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I just
We
keep going. I don't have a life, really.
quite the life, and you're always the guns are blazing, and that's what we need. We need those people that are out there really marching and be in the feet for the community, because we can sit in these rooms all day, but you guys are the ones going out, boots on the ground, speaking in front of the council. Oh, you got to go, Annette. Thank you, Annette, for coming. And I love
Yeah,
it.
I gotta go.
Leaders shaping leaders, we got them all over the place. They all, like, if you look at our craft membership base, it's so many leaders shaping leaders that are our members. So I love that. And you know, y'all already know Better Futures created that. So
Sorry.
so you know,
Thank you, Latoya. Thank you, Melissa. Very informative. Please reach out. I definitely want to connect with you.
Yeah, I will get you my information. And Arlene also she has my phone number and stuff. So she jumped
Okay,
in a picture with me. That's how I met her. And
oh,
yeah,
that's Arlene.
that's us. I was
Okay,
like, who
ladies.
is this
Thank
girl?
you.
But yeah, so I'll get my contact stuff to you.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good weekend,
Bye.
ladies. Bye bye.
all right, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and land the plane. So, Melissa, now you know I have to do my announcements at the end of the show. So I know you have to go back to your kiddos. I want to thank you so much, Melissa, for being not just being awesome, but being awesome in family childcare and not being quiet, taking it out, opening your mouth, going and fighting for us out there, because we need people like you. And if you are someone who really wants to be in family childcare, definitely contact us, because we can definitely point you in a direction. We have members all over the country, and you already know this lady right here knows everybody. So we can get you in contact no matter what state you're in with somebody that can help you. We put the link in the chat for the what is this? The FLFCCLA. That, you know, the acronyms.
Yeah, that is actually the Florida chapter of the FCCLA. But look, I'm sure even in those rural areas, they have them. And each one, if they have an FCCLA, it should be broken down into different things. Like I'm looking here on the Florida page right now, and they actually have a Florida Educators of Family and Consumer Sciences.
See, nice. So you heard it first. And go and check out nafcc.org. You know, we're partners of theirs. You can, if you're a member of NAFCC, you know, you can actually get a discount on a craft membership. So go ahead and check them out, and go ahead and do that leadership and leaders. It's so many great people, leaders that came out of that program. So you're definitely in good company. So, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Ema. Thank you for everybody that came on today and rocked with us. They all said thank you. And shout out to you, Ema. She's in Canada, coming in to learn more about family child care. So, definitely, you know, we got to let y'all know how we do it in the US.
Canada has some pretty great childcare stuff, though, up there, I've noticed.
That's why I said email me, Ema, and we're going to talk. I'll put you in, and I hope you got the emails that are in the chat so that you can follow up. Okay, because these are the best of the best, you guys.
Yeah, and if anybody, especially if you're in Kansas, if you have any questions, like reach out to me. If you go on the NAFCC website actually and go under the state reps, you can find my contact information there.
Oh, okay. See, everybody's on there. That's right. I love that they are standing up for family child care. You know, we have a place to go. You know, I love it.
And if you're not a member of NAFCC and you would like to become a member of NAFCC, reach out to me and I'll connect you to those people too.
See, we got plugs all over the place. See, that's why you got to come to the Craft Cafe or watch it. Now, remember, we have a YouTube channel, so make sure that you're tuning in on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. That's the Craft Cafe live show. Okay. And you will find all of our past episodes, and you're going to find Melissa in there too. 2 times. But she'll be back, you guys, because we're going to need, I want to bring on some of the business owners and get some feedback from them, their experience. And hopefully that'll show you guys that anything is possible. If this is something that you're passionate about and you can see yourself doing this and you want to commit to this, come on into the fold. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of children that need you. So come on in here. We want to make sure we're building this industry with the best of the best people who actually give a damn about the kids. Okay, not just for money, because you can get rich off this industry. Don't get me wrong. But you know, the people that are in it, they're not in it for that, because half of the time they're not even paying themselves. You know what I mean? So just know they're out here looking out for your kid just like it was their own, and they're making sure that they're learning and not on the phone. Okay, because you know these phones are just killing it. So you need to make sure your baby is somewhere where they can actually be educated and they have the space to get attention, and it's not 35 other kids, you know. So that's why I love it. another thing that I love about family childcare is because your family that you live with got to be cool with it. Because ain't no way you gonna have all of these children up in here all the time. Your husband or wife gotta get used to it or gotta love it, because then that's gonna ruin your relationship if they don't. Your kids gotta not be jealous when that baby won't let you go at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all know how it is, because the kids don't even want to go home at the end of the day. And that's how they be like grabbing on like, no, no. Ema says, I love how kids can feel like a home away from home and family childcare. Exactly. That's their couch. That's their mom. You know what I mean? They probably call you mom and everything. And that's a comforting thing for a mom. Y'all know I'm a mom. So with my kids, I was loving when they're attached to their home provider, because they make me feel comfortable when I go to work, because I was like, they must trust this woman, because my babies are stank. Like, they don't talk to nobody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're one of those babies that's like, mm. So if you know that you really attached, you know they're getting really good love and education. So yeah, guys, like I said, back to what I'm saying with family child care, we're all about uplifting the industry. So if you haven't heard or saw any of the ads slapping in your face, the Wave Accounting Lab is underway, you guys. We did it in May. And when I tell you that was our pilot, we did it differently. We do a lot with Wave and accounting, but we do it differently. You've heard of the Wave Accounting Boot Camp, where it's virtual. Then you heard of our live boot camp, where we do a full day on site and you get up out of there. We have presented the Wave Accounting Lab, where we not only have one instructor, but we have a panel called the Craft All Stars. Of course, I'm one of them because I'm your marketing guru for childcare. But we are led by Natrice Johnson. She's out of Philadelphia. She is a 14-year veteran. She has a family childcare business and a center-based business. So not only does she use Wave Accounting for her family childcare, she actually uses it for her center-based program as well. And she loves it. She started out learning it from us in our boot camps, and she went back to her community and started teaching it all around. So I had to go get her, like, come on, Natrice, let's get up in here. I need you on deck. So she is our lead Wave instructor. So she's, no matter what type of childcare, she can pretty much help you. And we handhold you guys. We're not playing, oh, go do this homework. You're going to do everything inside the lab, and you got all hands on deck. Next up, we got Adrienne Briggs. Not only is she a 33-year veteran in family childcare, she's also the vice president of Quality Inferentials Professionals, which is known as SQUIP, and they are the Family Childcare Association set in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They handle the whole state. So you already know she knows what she's doing. So she's handling for-profit business and a nonprofit business, and she knows her stuff. So if you got a nonprofit and you want to come up in there and get that, that angle, you can really ask those questions of who's actually using it. Come on in there. She's in the building. She got her own breakout room. Then let me tell you, the big kahuna, you guys, in the whole thing, because accounting is one thing, but what happens after the accounting when you counting it all up? You're going to have to pay taxes on that thing, right? So we got none other than the Child Care Tax Pros. Yes, that's our partner of many years. And they specialize in taxes, business taxes, not just any business taxes, child care business taxes. And let me tell you something. If you go into your CPA, I'm not trying to say, oh, don't go to H&R Block. I'm going to do what you want to do. But what I'm telling you is, none of them companies know about childcare. Childcare is its own little furry little hiding in the woods creature that if you know, you know. And you don't have the time to play around with people who don't know, because you're going to be giving all your money back in taxes. Okay? So we want to make sure that not only you understand how to do your books, keep your books. We got the categories for you. We provide you with the budget. We provide you with the chart of accounts, so you know how to categorize your expenses for the maximum return and lower that tax bill, and time, space, requirement, all of that. Don't ask me how that I know, because I don't. That's why we got the pros, though. They know there are not CPAs, y'all. They're EAs, enrolled agents, which means they can represent you in court. So it's nothing about the go down. Audit where? Not with the tax pros. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even have a child care center. You know what I do. But I trust them with my taxes. They've been doing my taxes for the past, 3-4 years. And I'm telling you, I get a refund, okay? And I'm an entrepreneur, because they know how to look at your taxes and give you a tax strategy. They don't just leave me hanging. And because I've been with them so long, they know I have tax anxiety. So, like, let's give an example. This particular year, I always cut it close, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I just cut it close. It'd be April, whatever. And I'm like, oh, no. So they're like, hey, Latoya, we're coming down to the deadline. You're going to be ready to submit your stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Let me just finish up with my wave. And guess what Latoya Riggins did? I missed the deadline. But guess what they did? They was like, we got you. We already submitted your extension. I was like, oh. Because I was in there beating myself up because I was like, oh my gosh, did I miss it? They're like, we got you. I love that because they already know how I am. They have a portal, all of that. So come on over. They're in the Wave Lab. So you have them there, all of Q&A. And let me tell you, shout out to Sadie Marie. She's one of our graduates. She had to take that information back to her CPA. The CPA was like blown away. Like, what? I never even heard of this. So come on through to the Wave Accounting Lab. We're starting November 1st, you guys. Now, this is Saturdays. You got to sacrifice a little bit. Let's get it in before the holidays so you can chill. Okay, and before the end of the year, so that you're not scrambling at the end of the year to get these profit and loss statements in first of the year, because you're gonna be focused on the holidays. The parents are coming in from Detroit. The kids are out of school. Come on now, we got to get this underway. We're starting November 1st, and we're going consecutive Saturdays, you guys, 2 to 4. Carve that little time out, lock yourself in the closet, and guess what? No homework. We're doing everything on site in the lab while you're there. So once you're off, you're off. Go to get a latte or something. I don't know. Get your weekend back. This is going to save you time in the long run. Get it out the way. We're going to do 4 consecutive weeks, okay? November 1st, Saturday. Get on here with the pros. Remember, you missed the early bird special, but we got a special going on right now. So it's $3.99. And this is for the whole program, not every time. Now, we also have built into that is a craft family grant opportunity, because now we're on the subject of raising funds. A lot of times people don't realize that you can raise money, okay? You don't always have to worry about where you're going to get the money. And if Melissa hasn't taught you anything, is you got to make relationships. You got to get out there and open your mouth. You can't do it from behind the screen. You got to connect with people, okay? You got to get up out that house. Now, what we want you to do is realize that there's a lot of grants out there that you can actually write to. Now, we got all kinds of technology, you guys, so don't act like you can't do it. We're going to help you practice. We have a grant that you can apply to, which our last cohort applied to. And shout out to Diane Gardner. She actually, not only was she a graduate, she won $1,000 in a grant that we gave out. This was our first time doing it, giving a grant for our people, for our members, giving back to you guys. So not only did she come out, she was the first one to sign on, so she got the early bird special. She got all her business stuff mapped out, reports in. She got it audited, technically audited by the Childcare Tax Pros. She went in and created an application. She used her brain and all the things that she had to do, created a budget and everything, just like we asked on that grant. So now she's exercised. She understands how to answer those questions, what information is going to be asked of her. And now she low-key has a template for the next one. She won that fair and square, you guys. So that's our goal at Craft, to not just give you the tools, but help you exercise them and use them and give you a place to use them at. Because at the end of the day, once you see your victories, you see your success, you will be more confident to try again. And that's what we want. That was only $1,000. The next one she gets is going to be 10, then 50, then 100K. And then she's going to be up to 6 mil like Melissa. But it's all about understanding your numbers. So don't make any more excuses. Stop staying up all night on those spreadsheets, you guys, and killing your marriage, okay? Get on in here and get these numbers right so you can press a button and take a picture of these receipts, and you're not having bags of receipts and boxes all over your kitchen. Because I know, I can see, I seen it. They right under the table. I seen them. So don't worry, we got you covered. All right, so make sure you are in there. Now, last but not least, you guys, we have an app. Shout out to Craft Plus. Okay, this is where you can stream hundreds of our webinars that you either missed or you love so much you want to watch them again right there on our app, Craft Plus. So go on to our website at www.betterfuturesdc.com/Craft Plus, and you can actually log in straight from our website if you want to watch it on your browser, or you can click the button to download the app and you can watch it on your phone from anywhere you got a Wi-Fi signal, okay? We got articles, we got all the past classes, and we got craft cafes, all right? Now, let's say you're not a member and you just want to watch the Craft Cafe, head on over to our YouTube channel. It's Craft Cafe Live Show, okay? And subscribe, like, and share, you guys. And if you want to be a feature on the Craft Cafe Live Show, send me an email at lriggins@betterfuturesdc.com. And I'll see you later, you guys. Have a great weekend. And shout out to Howard University, you guys. It's homecoming weekend. I'm on my way, y'all. I'm on my way. See y'all on the yard. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.